Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever I'm finding you today, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are going back to a classic, Am I the A-hole? And without further ado, let's get into the video. This first story is adorable. I think it's very cute. Am I the a-hole for putting googly eyes on all the food in the fridge to prevent snacking? That is cute. My roommate eats everything. I've had housemates like that. It's annoying. I'll buy a pack of cheese sticks and they're gone by the morning. Oh, wow. I asked nicely, then labeled stuff, no change. So I got creative. I bought a pack of stick-on googly eyes and put them on everything. Milk, eyes, leftover spaghetti. Judging you. Even taped one to a banana. It worked. He said it creeped him out, and he stopped eating my stuff. Now he says I'm being passive-aggressive and creating an emotionally hostile refrigerator. That is a phrase I never thought I'd say before. Am I the a-hole for turning the fridge into a surveillance horror movie to stop my food from vanishing? No. This person's not the a-hole in my opinion. He was voted not the a-hole. That's just silly. I think googly eyes make everything cute. And the fact that he's calling you out, he knows he's done something wrong. He knows he's the a-hole, and he doesn't want to admit it, and he hates that he's being called out. Am I the a-hole for offending my mother after she commented on my appearance? A week ago, my parents took me on a forced vacation. I was only given 3 days' notice, even though I had several large assignments due. Okay, you had some assignments due for, I'm assuming, college, university, and you were dragged away to a vacation where I'm assuming you couldn't bring all of your stuff. I'm sorry if you can hear like clicky clackies in the background, that's just my dog. But my parents refused to let me bring my laptop, there it is, so I could work on my assignments, meaning they no longer can. I decided to try and make the best of it, even indulging in more sweets than I usually would. I usually have 1 to 2 a week and have 2 plus daily on this trip. Okay, wow, this person's a healthy eater. When we got home, I went straight to work and ended up staying up until 2 a.m. for 4 plus nights in a row, getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night. That's not healthy. With not getting enough sleep, as well as indulging on sweets, my skin started. Oh, girl, I know. Not getting enough sleep is terrible for the skin. I usually have mostly clear skin, but I had 6 or more red pimple-like blotches on my cheeks. I'm having a breakout right now because of the change in the weather. It's literally that simple. I was eating dinner as usual today, when my mother looked at me and told me, "Why is your skin breaking out? Try to take more care of your health or you will end up with an even worse appearance." Oh, that's rich. Oh, that's rich. She often comments on things like this, and I have told her many times that I'm insecure about it, and to not comment on them. For example, she told me I was becoming fat when my BMI is under 17.9. Okay, I'm sure anything under 18, BMI is not accurate, do not take my word. Well, anything under 18 is underweight. I spiraled and ended up restricting food, okay, I have gone through this. I'm still recovering from an eating disorder. Because of comments like that, because of adult figures who you're supposed to trust, and people in school, random strangers, they comment on like little belly fat and thick thighs, and you spiral and you keep restricting food and making yourself sick on purpose. And for me, there's certain foods that make me throw up immediately, and that's how I got away with my eating disorder. I'm still not recovered from it, and it's been like a decade. I finally snapped after she commented about my skin. You know what, girl? You should have snapped ages ago. I would have snapped with you. I'm right behind you, bestie. I told her I also don't want my skin breaking out, and the thing is, I have eyes. I can see that I'm breaking out without you mentioning it. You know what? Go off, right? These people be acting as though you haven't seen it, or you haven't looked in a mirror, or haven't like felt your skin or washed your face. Yes, I am aware that I have spots. I can see, bestie. Ah, girl, you're so real. I feel you. And may I add that the main reason I am breaking out is because you took me on holiday without giving me much notice. So please don't comment on my appearance. I am trying to scrutinize myself as little as possible, and your comments do not help. Respectfully, please keep your mouth shut if you're only going to say things like this. Girl, you've said everything I want to say. You said everything I've always wanted to say and more. You are my hero. After that, she kept her mouth shut for the rest of dinner. Good put her in her place. Just because she's older than you and just so happened to birth you doesn't mean she's instantly earned the right to treat you like a bully. Yet later in the day, she confronted me about this, saying my comment was extremely disrespectful, and that she had every right to. No, she doesn't. Since I was her daughter, no. She doesn't have the right to be your bully. And that if it was affecting me so much, I should just ignore the comments. I should just ignore it, and that my comment had deeply offended her. My father also tried to stay mostly neutral, but ended up siding with my mother in the end. Okay. The same thing goes to your mother. If she's saying that you should have ignored her, then she should have ignored you. If they're just words, why didn't she ignore you? I get that I may have run my mouth a little too much, but I don't believe my response was offensive. But am I the... No. Girl, you're not the a-hole. You said everything I've always wanted to say to people who've commented on my weight. And your BMI, 17.9. Again, BMI, not accurate. You're in the underweight category, right? How dare this? You know what? This mother's living through you. I want to know what she looks like. Like, never judge anybody's appearance, never judge anybody's weight, never let anybody down. But I want to know what she looks like to be able to call shots like that against you. And she's probably living vicariously through you. She wants to make you look as perfect as possible in her eyes so she can relive her prime through you. You know, like pageant mums. Oh my god, that's it. You're not the a-hole she is for being a pageant mom. But honestly, bestie, please, you are perfect the way you are, okay? And a few spots isn't going to kill you. A few spots just means that you're human. I think I can allow one more story just for you, my babies. Because I love you all. But most importantly, because this story, ugh, darling, am I the a-hole for ruining my family vacation because of my period? You ready for this? I, 15 female, just got back from going around Europe for 2 weeks with my parents and two younger brothers, 11 and 13. A family of misogynists. A few days before our flight home, I got my period and it was bad. You have my sympathies and a batch of fresh cookies. Being already tired from traveling and being away from home, it didn't help my nausea, cramps and no energy. To make it worse, we had a full day of walking and sightseeing planned ahead of us. I asked my mum if I could just stay at the hotel and rest as I was in pain and really couldn't be asked for any of it. She told me she knew it wasn't pleasant, but to try and push through as we only go abroad once a year, and she didn't want me to ruin the vibe. Surely a mother would understand what women go through with a period. It was awful. We spent the morning climbing up this hill to see a view of a city from a church, and my brothers the whole way through kept complaining about needing to take breaks frequently to sit down, while my parents just basically let them and didn't tell them to shut up. What really peed me off was them loudly embarrassing me in public at a restaurant about how many bathroom breaks I needed, and they kept telling me I was killing the mood. Off topic, but those free street bathrooms in Paris. Okay, yeah. Judging by the fact that they said Europe and not specific countries, they're American. I'm sorry, darling. Yeah, the free bathrooms in any European country, I'm sorry. Because they're free, it comes with a catch. The catch is that they're not cleaned. When we got back to the hotel, I got into a massive argument with my mother, and she said a few things I admit were out of line. Oh, and I said a few things I admit were out of line, and I regret that. Okay, I get that you were saying things out of line, but you're also cramping and you're angry and your hormones have swapped. Because, women have two hormones, in case you didn't know. She told me to remember how much money it had cost for all of us to take this trip and told me to be grateful. Well, they chose to take the trip, not you, OP. So they could have also just, took it easy or, you know, got you some painkillers or just, let you stay at the hotel like you asked. The final day of our trip came, and she finally let me stay at the hotel and rest. Wow, on the final day, eh? I know my parents worked really hard for us to go on vacation, and I was a bit rude to her, but I was in pain, and I feel like everyone could have at least tried to pretend to give a shit about me. You're not the a-hole, baby girl. I grew up with siblings who were assigned female at birth. What I know about periods is that they can turn you into a very moody person. And sometimes, you can get really annoyed with the attitude, but that's okay. My dog is clicky clacking. It's okay because, it's not anybody's fault. It's a natural part of life. People have periods. People have periods and they hurt, especially if you've got medical conditions, especially if you have heavier periods, especially if you're younger and you're not used to them, especially if you have endometriosis. I know my shiz girlies. And I feel like the fact that there's a lot of boys, like there's two sons and a father, and there's only like, you and your mom, that kind of adds. Like they don't know anything about periods, they've not been educated, they don't know the pain. I think you should just keep insisting on how painful it is. I'm gonna go through the comments because there's only so much I can say as a man. Not the a-hole, tell an OBGYN, I'm assuming that's what Americans call gynecologists, that your periods are this bad though. Yeah, and not a lot of OBGYNs in America help, but fortunately, like in the UK and Europe, you can, if you didn't know this, my UK girlies, and anybody with a uterus, you don't need to go to a doctor to go to a gynecologist. You can immediately go to a hospital and ask to speak to the gynecologist. You can do that. Not the a-hole. They should have let you stay in your room. Yeah, everybody's saying not the a-hole, and I 100% agree not the a-hole. I've seen my siblings on their periods, and it's not fair, and I feel bad for them. Like, I've seen, yes, Looney Poo, excuse me. I've seen other relatives on their period, and they've also been, like, bedbound for the first few days because they're just in that much pain. And obviously, there's doctors, not gynecologists, because gynecologists get it, but doctors will be like, oh, here's a hot water bottle, here's paracetamol. Always speak to a gynecologist. Don't go through your doctor. Go to the gynecologist in the hospital directly. That's the best way you can get some form of a result. It'll take longer and you'll have to wait longer for an appointment, but it's better than being told to just take a paracetamol. And that's the advice I'm going to leave you with today. To always go through the hospital first rather than speak to a doctor, because doctors, they're just like general practitioners. They don't know anything other than answer your questions and see where it goes. Especially if you're a woman, all they know is to ask if you've got anxiety and give you a pill. Sorry, Luna's meowing. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you with that information. Do with that information what you will. Speak to your gynecologist, OBGYN, whatever you call it in your country. And I shall see you in the next video, my babies. Stay safe, and if you know anybody on their period, please buy them some chocolate or something that fits that category, and if they have any allergies. Mwah.